So this is coming along nicely. Starting to get in all of my hatching detail, which I think is really going to make it come to life when we print. Um, Obviously, some areas did not want to hatch around numbers, but I got to where I've done a rotation symbol I just quickly created, showing that this guy's going to be rotated and that this one is also rotated. I moved it up because it does rotate around this axis, this front axis in both cases. This is the view up, this is the view down. This end on, I almost need to take a rotate axis, just copy. I made a block out of this once I made it. And then I rotate it. So let's just rotate it 90. And then move it into place. And I don't know if I want it here or if I want it here yet. I haven't quite figured that out. Probably here, but what started bothering me was I know the building a little bit, and I looking at this, and this is an 8x8, which this is the 8x8. And this beam here, I could swear that is a 6x8. So I want to go back to my working drawing and take a look. And then I want to clarify a couple things of how this is drawn. So this section CC is cut through here and pointing in one direction. And so we're picking up the end of this. We're picking up another end of this because of this one, it's lower. And you can see by looking across the screen that it is indeed lower, this particular beam and this one. And so that's why on our drawing here, I've got these two, and then it jumps to these two. But what we did is we cut out a piece here, and sure enough, that is a 6x8 main girder up there. So just to check it, let's see, and this is the 8-inch dimension, which makes complete sense. It's out probably to the outside face, and then this one's 6x6 down below. And so when we go back to our joinery details, indeed, I've got 6 inches there. And now this is not nominal lumber, so it is truly 6 inches. My problem is that this is drawn at 8 inches in that direction, which is correct, but on the end, I also drew it at 8. Oh, now, how does it look from an end-on perspective? Because sure enough, yeah, this insets, but I don't really want it to be in this location because I'll show you what I have in mind. Like if I take this and stretch it in to make it a 6x6, so I bring it in the 2 inches, and yeah, I can come in and edit all my hatches, that kind of deal, and get that to work. Now, is that a perfect hatch? No, it's kind of weird the way it behaves, but nonetheless, what I don't like about this is what am I looking at? So end on, I'm looking in, and this piece that's at the outside is attached to this 6x6, and that's what was worrying me at the moment. Is this part of this? So now it's okay. Do I make it dark with it so it actually shows as part of it? If I do that, what I was trying to be was consistent in, okay, if I'm end on and I'm showing this guy coming in at this rear location, then I want to be consistent in my coloring scheme. And here, I do have it as dark and part of this member, and here I have it as dark as part. It's very clear. Here, if I had these dark, they just blend in. They'll disappear. So this one, what to do? And I think for me, the best solution is to leave it at that lightest configuration to show that it is that piece, and now it's drawn correctly. It's end on. And then just real quick on how to make one of these little guys. It was really simple. I just came up, went to my ellipse tool and went to an elliptic arc, and I didn't really worry too much. I didn't even have anything. In fact, I drew it this direction. Oh, bring it up to where you want it to be, get some sort of a circle that looks good to you, because you know you're going to have two arrows. Whoops, I escaped out. Um, so get your length that you want, get some circle, a width that you like, and then you need to start and end. And so here, come around, and let's go there. Now, are those exact? I don't know. But what I did then is I have these arrows down here. I grabbed one, I brought it up and planted it. And then I went and I rotated it about this point to where I thought it looked pretty good. Then I can explode it, turned into another layer. So I'm going to match my properties here. Then if I mirror that, about, oh, yeah, didn't quite go to the right spot. Then I can make it even. So by grabbing this, and then grabbing that point and pulling it to there. Now I have that even arrow, and then I just did W and gave it a location, picked a point, selected objects, and then when my naming, it might still be here. So symbols and leaders, you can't use the inch symbol, so I put that it was a rotate symbol at a 1-inch scale. So I know when I go insert that into a drawing what arrow size I'm going to have. And in some video down the road, I should probably do a quick video on how to really change all your dimensions and arrows and all that fast to create that sheet. But that's how I created that. And then on we go. So the end on, it's rotated. It's rotated around like this. And I guess what I could do is label front if I wanted to really make it clear that this is this face. I could put front face, maybe a leader to it. And I certainly want to make it graphically look better. That's just me. Oops, didn't quite stick. And I would say that's about center. Bring it over to about center. And then I can actually make that, grab it from the center, and then eye it up top. Could I put it in an perfect? Yes, can. Change this instead of having that node at the end, if you wish to really get things right, change the justification from left to middle, or even from left to middle center. And it's kind of middle center, it sort of leaves the same dots, but now you could go XLV, drop that there. Now when you just click on this, you'll get that node, be able to bring it across. You can grab this guy, bring it across, and now I'm straight on. So that's a way to get things really accurate. Make your drawing super clean. Guess save, of course. Save often. So what I want to make clear, and I think I need to create another screen capture style on my OBS, and then I will be back so I can show you a really great advantageous deal that's worth the investment. So this, I'm using a 1080p here, and this screen is it's a great gaming screen. From here over to here, oh, actually, I think they measure it diagonally, 49 inch. So instead of 27, they call it a 49. It is curved. It's a great screen, but on most people's monitors, they can't watch my videos. So I don't record this way for the most part. But sometimes I want to see a couple things at once, and the only way to really do that is to use the power of this monitor and bring it down so I've got really two sides going on and be able to say, hey, look at, here's what I'm displaying. And so there's that guy. Oh, my other one just fell off the planet there. Where did it go? There it is. All right, so I'm not going to stay here long because this is probably really annoying to you guys. All I want to show is what did we draw? And what we drew was this guy here, which is not really based in reality. This joinery, I don't even think hits in the same spot. I do have to look at it a little closer. But when I come to this monitor, what I've got is a cut of C, and that is section C that we stole that from. Section C cuts through here, and that is this location. And so at this location, I am going to have knee braces going off in both directions, as shown here, but this girder is not on this post. It's on a post that's beyond. So it's actually here at this location in the other direction. And then this girder here is this guy. So this one really is at this location. So my joinery up here that I showed is right on. Where it comes into this location is right on. And I have come to the realization that over here, this one came down and I cut it off here. It's not happening that way. This is in the background somewhere else. This one actually comes down just as this does down here to a full depth. So what I need to do is dimension this out and then note this as beyond. That way I can show that all in one detail. Get it labeled so that everything is nice and clear, and then make this beyond, have this even, probably I'm going to end up with half a circle appearing above, and that should help actually say this is beyond, this is in the background. And then these other piers do happen to come into an 8x8. So my rotation and all this works out. Thank goodness I didn't want to redo that. So all this stuff shown at the face, I maybe have some reworking to do anyway once I get it back from the timber framer. But for now, that is how it's shown. And I do need to correct this to represent this because this is in the background. So I'll take us back to a reasonable monitor size for most people. So one of the nice things about using multiple monitors is that I can have my 27-inch. I just keep this one on all the time. If I want to show the other side of it, I can show the other side. Go back. I never turn that one off. I just leave it on. So if I want to go to that full screen again, I can just click this and it'll be over the top of it. Not as clear as turning those off because I do have this below it. But 27, which is the monitor I'm on, if you're using AutoCAD and you have multiple monitors, you can go down to your menus that are down here in the bottom. I have to do it on the other screen, but when you look at your multiple deals, you can pop open one of these. I like to see that I'm paused or unpaused, but so I didn't stretch this to the whole monitor, but now I can look at this configuration as I redraw that other side, and it'll rest here, and then I can hit I can use the pause, unpause if I have a hotkey, In my case, I don't. So every time I pause and unpause, I have to bring this view back. But that's because I haven't figured out how to make OSB operate properly without using a key that I use, except I do have one that is called my page down. So page down pauses for me because I don't use page down in AutoCAD, where by default I think it's space. So you have to reset that. Space I use, of course, all the time. And if you're if you've been using AutoCAD for any amount of time, even a short period, you have forgotten that you have an enter key when you're in the program. So let's bring us back to where we want to be by turning that display off. And then for myself, I have to come to my other screen and open that drawing back up above my OBS. And then I'm going to pause and work on that detail. And so one thing that is inconvenient about this, the way I have it right now, and let me stretch this over, and then I'll bring you back to that 27. It's not easy to see unless I reduced this down. Okay, now we can see it. And I'm sorry about the infiniteness of it, but we're looking at the screen where I'm keeping my OBS. So this is behind it, and then to be able to see which screen I'm recording at all times, turn that one off, turn that one off. Now I'm back to where we want to be. Keeping track of that can be difficult, and then pausing and unpausing can be scary, especially when I bring my other one out front and want it to stay there. Then I got to use the. So earlier on, you may remember that we kept this line here, and now is when we're going to use it. So I'm just going to show you how, and then I'll go through and do all of them. Missed where I grabbed it, but let's get it down where it's close. So I'll move it, and I want to put it, oh, that one I really don't need, but here I don't need, but this one I do, because it's inside there, and I want to define where that's located, but I don't want to draw that line. And sometimes it's best to come up and say, bring it to the front, and now you can see it better. I do want to show that this is 2 inches deep, even though that's probably very evident to the timber framer. I don't like any ambiguity, so let's just make sure it's absolutely clear. And so I can copy, let's say we'll copy. And I could just do a dimension and match styles, match properties as well. But I don't know why I chose this method, but it works, so we'll go with it. Does look like the 2 1/8 is not going to fit in there very well. So I'm going to bring it up, get that angle that I like. So it matches my tick marks. And I've got that set. Depth is, I've got an error in the way that I have this hatched. Because this comes to here. And this, oh, they're the same hatch. So I'm going to have to actually delete it. And delete that. Where's that correct? Let me see. Let's see what is our depth here. I'm able to bring that back. Let's see what we've got. That is, it's 3 inches. Is that enough for this small? Remember, if it is, instead of doing a 4-inch, I think that this video might be something that I'll ask him to watch and see if he liked the 3-inch for the shed girder. This is the shed girder, and if I take you to the other drawing, I'm just gonna bring it over. It's easy enough. I've kind of got this memorized. That's the shed girder. So that's the girder right there. This is the shed post. That's what we're working on. And I know it gets a little confusing, but I'm going to separate these out later. I just want information from the timber framer right now. And I'll just say, hey, this 3-inch red dimension, is that what you're after? And I hate to have him watching 20 minutes of video or more, but maybe I could set him this section on its own and say, just watch the last couple of minutes. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go that route. So let's match properties on that, turn it into that, and could do an or. So if I did an or, I would just grab like this line and partially have it drawn. So, because that's, but I don't think that's an inch. Oh, see, now it's not an 8 by 8. See, it is 2 inches. So when I stretch this over to 1 inch, then I can erase that, or I can just chamfer this. And now I've got both cases. So I can say to him, hey, do you want it to be 4 inches where they touch each other? Or do you want it to be the 3-inch on that smaller piece? And on this one, I would want to relocate this probably to be in the middle of that. So to do that, I would just take this, draw a line across, and then I want to draw a line from the middle across of this segment. So I'm hitting the midpoint of that. Now I can move this, grab the whole thing. Don't want to grab that line, but I could. I mean, it just gives me good reference to make sure I did hit it. And that is set there. So down here, I can dimension where this, if I wanted to put a center line mark in there, I certainly could. Oh, my hatch. Look at that. See, these hatches were done at the same time. So you can rehatch it, which is probably faster than doing this in this case because it's so simple. But I just want to show you that if you have decently straightforward hatch patterns, they can be manipulated using the nodes. And in this case, they are pretty easily manipulated. So, yeah, now it'd just be hatching and matching the rest of that and dimensioning this. So, do I want a center line? If so, let me just show you what I do with center lines because I think this is pretty important. And I don't think everybody shares my opinion. But I started drafting well before line styles, and probably as CAD was being, I hate to admit it, as CAD was being developed, I was a leader in out in the forefront. So one of the things that I never liked about CAD was the fact that this was no longer a center line. It was a center line type, but it's easily changed, and some people just don't like to take the time to do it. So let's try a 12. Too much. Let's try a 6. And a 4. Boom, got it. Now I can just mirror that over, and then I have to move it because that's going to end up in the wrong spot. So to move it, I'll draw my line on my junk layer, or my G labeled junk layer as it is in this case, and then I'll move this line, which I could hit enter because it is the top choice, and go right to there. Now I can dimension to the center lines. And if I want to, there is also hiding around here a block created. Oh, maybe it's not in this drawing. It's in a drawing, but it just has the CL, the center line name, to make sure that it's known that that is truly a center line. But this gentleman is very experienced, and I'm not too worried about him not knowing what the heck I'm referring to. So let's go to there. I think those match. Yep. Now MA, grab that one, and there. Now just straighten them out so that I like the way that they look. So they're clean and easily read. That is so important to me. And should be important to about everyone. Now, this is plenty of room, so I'm going the same direction on both of these because there is plenty of room. I do like it to go with the tick if I can. Now that that is done, I can just finish hatching this out. And it's sort of my choice as to whether I'm going to pull that into the same color, but I'd rather have this be that dark portion to match that. And that will help this other portion stand out. So now I can hatch here, 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 and there, and then we just have to match properties to get it to be this other tone. Now we have all three tones, should be very legible. That slash line is on the junk stuff, so it does not blot. There are a few layers. I've got one for, I call it revisions. I can put notes, whatever I want on there. Then there's the junk layer, which is currently frozen because this X is causing a hatch issue on these. Figured that out. So had that frozen for now and switched over to this to do my temporary lines. So any of those three layers never print. So they're just mine for the use as I see fit. So that one looks good. Throw some dimensions on this guy, throw some dimensions on the end post, and then throw some dimensions on this end view. So what this is that at every end, I'm going to make sure that that this does not end up out here where I'm close to the edge. I'd like these to always be in the middle of the post. And I want to know that he agrees. So looking for feedback when I get that. So I'm just going to mention those out and we'll keep going.